race fans, and welcome! Tonight, it's the Icon Cup Series here live on VirtualRacing.Network. We're going to be at the 2-mile Michigan International Speedway for 100 laps of fun, high-flying excitement. That's right, Sunday nights, Icon Cup Series. Your home is on VirtualRacing.Network, and I'm Trevor Greenfield. As always, tonight I'm actually joined by a special guest. Yes, you may know him as the race winner and also points leader from the NORA Cup Series. Tonight I welcome Vincent Arthur to the booth here as my co-commentator, as Christian Snyder has the week off. Vincent, welcome. So great to have you here. What are we looking forward to here at Michigan International Speedway?
Well, first off, thank you, Trevor. Really happy to be here. One of the biggest things about Michigan is it is a drafting track. Although it's not a super speedway and these engines are not restricted, drafting is one of the most important factors of this race. Are you going to pull out a line to try to make a move? Are you going to be successful in that move? And if you're not successful, you might just get freight trained on the outside. We'll see a lot of aggressive racing here, and it'll be a really big difference in terms of those who go flat out early and those who save a little bit and who are there at the end of the run. As always, with this car and the Gen 6 and really whatever car we run, dirty air is going to be the key tonight. Who can stay in front, who can get the clean air, and who can control those runs as they come.
Absolutely going to be so crucial with the drafting. We'll see so much pack racing, but of course, there is something to be said for qualifying, and that's what they're doing out there right now, trying to start your way maybe towards the front. You might get a little bit of a better opportunity to avoid some incidents out there. Anthony Campbell right now are independent in the field with this Valorant paint job that I know Christian Snyder at Snyder Graphics painted. He's currently top car on the board at the moment. Kevin Gunther for Detach House of Speed in third place, and Andrew Cootie now taking over at the top. I see some Notre Dame Fighting Irish on board there. Of course, answering Nathan Finnegan's Rhode Island University paint scheme. Cody Neal right now just jumping to the top of the chart. So we're seeing a lot of cars coming through. Vincent Loria, part of the Super Speedy Vincent team. And Justin Bissonette now getting in his time, fast enough for second fastest out there. So right now, everybody just kind of finishing up. And, let me just go ahead and ask you as we now can hop on board. Vincent, let's hop on with Sean Purcell as he goes through turns 1 and 2 here. Starts heading down the backstretch. Any keys to getting through turn 3 and 4, turns 1 and 2, or is it pretty much just foot to the floor?
Honestly, 3 and 4 is a really tough corner. These guys get 2 laps of quali here, so he's going to be coming to his final lap, which is going to be his flyer, which is why you see him running against the wall to try to get all the momentum off of the corner. But they're 2 really drastically different corners. This is a D-shaped oval, so going into turn 1 here, he's going to bring it to the wall. You want to make a really, really big arc in here, but you got to be careful because you can overdrive it like he did right there, and you want to get it down to that second seam, and if you overdrive it like he just did there, you don't quite get there. But he will have a run down the back, so we'll see how much that actually affected him here. But 3 and 4 is really interesting because it is super flat on entry and then it picks up on exit. And it looks like he did a really good job there of getting the car down onto that transition strip right there. I think that's a little lower than a lot of drivers would be because of that transition onto the banking, but looks like he got a pretty decent corner off, and there he goes right to the flag. But turn 1 and 2, it's a wide sweeper. You want to just get down to that line. You want to hit a 3/4 apex, and turn 3 and 4, you want to be super careful in entry to make sure you're not overdriving it and burning up that right front, and to get the run off of that turn 4 to get down that long front stretch.
For sure, some expert advice. We appreciate that, Vincent. And some of these drivers doing a better job of controlling the car on these qualifying runs. Of course, it's going to be so different once we get into race mode, but something to be said once again for being able to put it atop the charts. Brian Smith, though, for 313 Motorsports, now makes it a 1-2 for 313 Motorsports, and that is something else to see here as he's managed to do something pretty special, which is for a team to take over the top, and that's going to do it for our qualifying session. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get ready to grid up for tonight's race, and pretty exciting stuff over at 313 Motorsports, where they have taken the overall front row. Congratulations to them. So taking a look here over our grid, it'll be Brian Smith on pole position. Starting alongside will be Vincent Loria. Second row will be Ronnie Norman of Harper Motorsports. Of course, familiar once again to all of you who've been watching Icon here, but certainly also over in the Nora Cup and Truck Series. Justin Bissonette for Collar City Racing will be starting alongside. Third row will be Cody Neal and Justin Michael. Fourth row, Scott Patton and Blade Timmons. Fifth row will be Brendan Jinks and Andrew Cootie. Sixth row, Adam Ball and Cody Height on YouTube. Starting in 13th place will be Tanner Dio, and Thomas Taylor will be starting alongside him. Sean Purcell in 15th alongside of Anthony Campbell. On the next row will be Kevin Gunther and Stephen Tuck. And 19th, kind of a surprise to see him starting so far back, will be Ryan Patty. He's one of our race winners here in the Icon Cup Series. And alongside him will be last week's winner at Richmond, Nathan Finnegan. Starting on in 21st, Hanover Fist. And 22nd, Brock Kersey. 23rd will be Mike Jennings, and alongside him will be the namesake of Harper Motorsports, Timothy Harper, who is also streaming live. For those of you that are into that sort of thing, you can have multiple screens going at the same time here. Why not? Or catch it afterwards. Worth a subscribe, I'm sure. In 25th is going to be Christopher Howell, and alongside will be Charles Gettings, and then Cody Eldred and Jamie Lee Dunning. Finally, Brad Slagle alongside of Jacob Langlaze. So Jacob is brand new here tonight. We have a couple of brand new drivers. I believe Charles Gettings also, first time we're going to be seeing him. And I'm not sure if our other driver that was slated to show up tonight is going to be in the field. But either way, 30 starters for tonight should be a fun affair. And this is when the heart rate starts to come up and you start to get ready to dig in deep. What's your strategy?
Get the car up to temperature, get everything going, and then try to pursue forward towards that lap 30 competition yellow.
Well, all of those things good to keep in mind, and we'll see how it all plays out here. We're just about ready to kick this one off. We step on the loud pedal, and it's Brian Smith who leads us to the green flag. Already these drivers going to be starting to choose. Oh, and you see Brian Smith move up to the top lane there for an early block on Ronnie Norman. On Vincent Loria. And now Norman trapped in the middle, 3 wide already to get this one going. And it looks like that's Cody Neal, who's gone sideways here on the backstretch, and he just manages to get it back together, but not before the yellow comes out. Cold tires there coming through turns 1 and 2, Vincent.
Cold tires and the debanked bottom lane there. That'll get you every single time. Man, it's quite unfortunate. He's really lucky he didn't hit anything. I thought for a moment he was going to save it there, but luckily he got the yellow and no contact, so he should be all right. But, man, look at look at the hands in there.
Things
The fact he did not go down and hit the inside wall is miraculous. So, an early mistake, but he'll live to fight another lap.
Well, look at this run that Cody got. You saw someone duck down to the inside to make that 3 wide. He just had a big old run, but starts pushing up the track. He tries to fight it. And then, like you said, no amount of handwork, it's able to keep that thing pointed totally straight. Oh, just missing somebody there in the field.
You can tell by his RPM, though, he is working those pedals. He's working those pedals to try to keep it going, try to get it back straight. But yeah, that transition, and especially in these next-gen cars, the transition across the seams is pretty deadly, as we've seen at Darlington and other tracks like that. And I expect that to be the same tonight. But especially up off of that transition, he had the 2 right sides on the more banking and 2 left sides on the less banking. So that'll do it every single time, plus the cold tires. Just an unfortunate incident, but luckily he escaped without any damage.
Always good when you can get away with one, and especially when you're already headed towards the inside wall like that, you manage to get that thing spun around and just barely missing that other driver there. So Cody Neal able to get it re-going again, but kind of the difficult way to take an end-of-the-line penalty. Welcome to everybody checking in over on YouTube. Great to have you with us here at VirtualRacing.Network. It's been a minute. Hoping for a great race. Steven Dombrowski, the Ronnie Norman fan club, and you joined in for a good one. Your guy Ronnie is going to be restarting in 3rd here. And also hearing that possibly not having any sound. Anyone saying that we've lost some sound, so I'm going to look into that. But we seem to have everything turned on. Check in with us over here on YouTube. Let us know if there's no sound. Not sure what would be causing that from our end. Everything is looks okay on our end, but we'll keep going on. And it says we're good now. Well, no clue what could have been causing that, but this is live broadcasting after all. None of this is pre-scripted. It's not like this is an AI race out here. And either way, great to have everybody joining us. Anthony Zoe and JD Rated, great to have you here. I think, Jay, I saw you subscribe just before the race. We greatly appreciate that. All the support here for the Icon Cup Series and, of course, us here at VirtualRacing.Network. And by the way, Vincent Arthur joining us here in the booth, and real life racer, doing some karting, doing some super late model stuff, doing all kinds of great racing in real life, but also part of the NORA Cup Series, and some exciting stuff happening as we're just getting into the end phases of the NORA Cup Series as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of really cool things that are coming on the horizon. Both on the sim and in real life, and yeah, I mean the NORA Cup Series, that's so much fun to race in each and every week. There's so much really great talent in there, and early in the season I had a lot of success, but I finally think I got myself out of the slump that I fell into during those summer months, and got a couple good tracks coming up for me. So it'll be interesting to see how this final little stretch before the playoffs plays out.
Absolutely. It was fun here to see Icon head to Richmond, and of course yourself pop right out of the funk that you've been in over in NORA Cup, and heading into playoffs going to be exciting. But of course, Icon right now in the 5th race of the season. It's been a great one so far. Multiple different winners. We'll get to those points here in a minute, but Brian Smith so far in the lead, and that is who JD is rooting on in the YouTube chat room. With that, Brian Smith leads us back to the green flag here at Michigan, with Justin Bissonnette now challenging Vincent Loria for that 2nd position. Bissonnette up a couple of spots right now. Bissonnette kind of slowing down on the outside lane there as Loria charges ahead. Now you see him stacking up 3 wide a little bit further back. That's Ronnie Norman who slipped back into 5th. And of course, It's a little early to get too worked up about sliding backwards going forward. I mean, there's a lot of strategy to be had here, Vincent, but however, they do give out those stage points coming up on lap number 30.
Yeah, stage points are definitely a key factor when it comes to the season overall, but obviously there's more points paid at the end of the race, so we can be aggressive now and try to get the stage points, but you don't want that to affect you coming the end of the race here.
Absolutely don't want to mistake where the big points are paid out, and it's for hanging out until you get to lap 100, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of these drivers who aren't at the front of the field now. They might be coming forward. Here's a guy, keep your eye on, Cody Height on YouTube. He's sometimes racing as many as 3 races a week here on VirtualRacing.Network and getting lots of experience out there. Currently running back in the 12th position. And up front, here's a big charger. Andrew Cootie in that number 9 machine. He is up 7 positions into 3rd place right now. He just set the fastest lap of the race, and it looks like he's trying to go for more. He's currently running in that 3rd spot.
Yeah, and this is going to be really interesting to see if it plays out. You saw him pushing the 67 down the backstretch right there, and that's going to be a key to success tonight is who are your partners? I mean, earlier, you see, they're linked up again here, and it looks like he's going to look to the outside here. And if he can get that draft from that leader in the 78, and it looks like he's going to, and pull alongside that 68 or 67, I think he's going to have. The position. Oh, they get really, really close there on the entry to 1, which is super easy to do. But if they keep it calm and keep it collected off of the corner, I think the 9's going to have the run down the back, and the 67 might want to try to find a lane up top because he's about to get freight trained if he doesn't.
Well, here comes the 9 in a hurry. Andrew Cootie wants his way to the front. He wants to lead a lap here in the Icon Cup Series, and he's looking to do it. He's going side by side now with the number 78 Toyota of Brian Smith, and now Bissonnette back into the middle of this action. He had slid back a couple of spots. Now that number 06, on the outside, challenging for that 2nd spot. We're going to be seeing so much great racing here over the course of this 100 laps, but they are slicing and dicing here for 2nd through 5th spot.
What aggressive racing this is. I mean, it's wonderful that they're able to keep it clean, and I hope they're going to continue to be able to, but man, these guys are up on the wheel, not taking anything for granted. It is all take. There is no give, and this is really, really entertaining racing here.
Always fun to watch these races, certainly in these broadcasts when you get to see so much slicing and dicing, but this may be something that you have to look forward to on Tuesday night as well over in Nora, Vincent. So you gotta take notes on what works and what doesn't in this sort of racing here in the Icon Cup Series. But look who's managed to poke his nose out front. That's Justin Bissonnette now. Out of Springfield, Virginia, for Collar City Racing. Could it be possible that we'll see Collar City Racing snag a 2nd victory in a row? That is indeed a possibility here, but Brian Smith not letting go so fast, holding tight. Now he challenges Bissonnette, takes that position once again, and we've got a familiar driver out in front leading. So, and now we see Cootie diving down to the low side again, and he's going to try to do a twofer, and he takes the lead, headed through turns 3 and 4. He's going to slide up right in front of Brian Smith.
That 78 is like a pit bull who has got their jaws clamped on something. He is not letting go to this lead. Every time he's gotten past, he's immediately made a crossover and completed the move. As the 9 dives back to the inside here, I think he's going to clear him here off the corner, but the 78, he's running that 3rd lane. He's going to have a run off of the corner. We'll see what he's able to do with it. The 9 had a pretty decent run off the corner. They're side by side down the back. The 78, man, he will not let go of this lead. I really like the intensity and the consistency and just the ferociousness of this driver.
Well, this is some exciting stuff here in the Nora, in the Icon Cup Series. It's been a while since we've seen this exciting of racing action. Of course, Richmond, a whole different kind of racing Such a short track and difficult to pull off passes here. You get such a long drafting range on these back and front stretches. And now we're just seeing some really tenacious driving by Brian Smith and Anthony Cootie. Cootie up 8 spots from where he started back in 10th, and he made it a hurry to get up there to the front and try and take over. Vincent Loria back here in 3rd spot. He's also holding strong. I mean, he did qualify in 2nd, but you can certainly see up to the front from there. Bissonette and Ronnie Norman now back into this battle, currently running in 4th spot. He's taking a look, trying to find his slot to get forward.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing these guys fan out here. It looks like lost the number for a second, but there's a couple cars running almost against the wall. I think about a lane off, and just looking for clean air. These cars, they're super air sensitive, and like even last week at Richmond, the car drove completely different in traffic than it did out front. So it'll be really interesting to see how these guys work the lanes as the tires wear. Will the outside come in a little bit more, or will we continue to see that bottom be dominant? But one of the biggest things that I forgot to mention at the beginning of this race is because of that debankment on that inside line. As we get closer to the end here, if you see 2 cars side by side, I would not be surprised if there's a little contact into one, because the driver on the bottom goes to that second lane where there's still the banking, and the top driver wants to pinch him down, and there is that contact just because of the miscommunication here. But obviously we haven't seen a ton of that so far, but it looks like they're all pretty single file, as there's a little bit of double file racing here in the back with the 04, and it looks like the 73. And the 17's right there for the taking, as they're going 3 wide into turn 1. This is going to be interesting here. The 17 and the 73 are really, really tight. The 04 keeps a really, really high lane here. They're still 3 wide through the corner. The 73 looks like he's going to be clear here off the corner. Oh, it looks like he got loose there, and the 04 is going to be able to hold on to position. But they're going to stay 3 wide as the pack behind them gets a run. So that's really the turmoil you can find yourself in. If you go for a move and you don't complete it, you can get swallowed up in no time. Man, this is my first race watching these guys, and I don't know if they have an issue with that 73, but man, nobody's been cutting him a break tonight. It'll be really interesting to see if he stops cutting other people breaks as the night goes on, because he has been 3 wide for nearly 3 laps now. I mean, as we've seen time and time again, clean air is king here. So the draft in these things is very, very strong. So, it's hard to break away as the leader, but man, it's just these people are fighting for clean air. And yeah, it looks super, super up tense from up here. We're constantly clenching and yelling, screaming, all this other stuff just because of how close the racing is. But in the seat, it's a lot more calm and collected. You're driving your own car. You're being super aggressive, but you're pretty in control, and everything seems a little more under control and predictable behind the seat. But man, the freaking racing in this is absolutely ridiculous. This is like Talladega. Like this, I haven't seen racing like this at a non-restricted plate race. As the 06 gets turned around and the 87 goes into the wall. Just looked like a misjudgment right there, but oh wow. As I was saying, how they were keeping it clean and calm.
Well, you knew something like this at some point had to happen. You can't just keep slicing and dicing 30 cars quite like that. Bissonette, unfortunately, getting caught up in that one, and Justin Michael as well. They slide to the tail end of the field. Let's go ahead and back it up and take a look and see exactly what happened here as Bissonette. This was just a moment ago. We'll back it up so we have plenty of runtime here, but taking a look maybe from above, give us a better view. Vincent, what are we looking at here?
Looks like the 78 goes down the corner. He's trying to look below the 67 there. The 06 is to his outside, and looks like he just goes up for a side draft and a little bit of net code there, but looks like the 06 came down trying to get a little bit of the draft of the car in front of him, and the net code really didn't work in either of their favors there, and there was some contact, and unfortunately the 06 went around. But we'll see a better view here from the 78. As a driver of the 70 or the 87 here, you're trying to pinch him up there. You're going to get the draft, and he's not, and just a really unfortunate event there, and it seems like he got the worst of it.
Yeah, one coming up and one coming down the track, and unfortunately, it's never going to work when two cars come together like that. But let's take a look one more time here from Bissonette's point of view. 28-year-old for Collar City Racing had such a promising race going, was up there into third, and started to come down the track maybe just a tinge, and unfortunately, he doesn't make contact, though. I think that's the main thing. I don't think Michael made much contact either, so I think both of these drivers will survive. We got a lot of drivers currently in the pits at the moment. Cody Neal, Tanner Dio, Andrew Cootie, Brendan Jenks, Blade Timmons for Harper Motorsports, Brendan Jenks for Full Send Esports, and our slew of independents in the field: Thomas Taylor, Sean Purcell, Stephen Tuck, Hanover Fist. A lot of these guys choosing right now, before that stage caution comes out on lap number 30, to go ahead and take on tires and get ready for the end of this race. So 75% fuel. I don't know the math, but there's no way they could make it 70 laps here without having to come in on a green flag, would they?
They're definitely going to have to. They're definitely going to have to come in again. I think what they're doing is they're just trying to get the track position here. A lot of these guys were stuck back in the pack, and I like the call. They're going to have to run 3, maybe 4 green flag laps on their tires, but as we've seen with this tire, I mean, lap times really did not fall off at all during that last run. So they kind of just hang on, try to be the first ones of the ones that pitted. And then cycle to the front when the rest of these guys pit. But regardless, they're going to have to pit again. So will these guys who pit at the stage end here. So I think it's just a track position game, and it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. But a couple names that I'm looking at in that whole deal right there is Brian Jenks in particular. He's a really smart racer. I'll actually get to meet him this coming Saturday at IRP. He works for an ARCA team, and I work for a truck team, and we'll both be there the same day. So get to meet him and Ronnie Norman. finally, which will be really neat to transition from the sim into real life and meet these people. But he's a really smart driver. That 38 car and that 18, they're both very similar-minded drivers. And, we get both ends of the spectrum here. We get Ronnie, who's going to stay out, and we're going to get that 38 who came in. So I like the strategy being played here. You're going to have to pit regardless, and maybe you'll get a yellow that falls so you don't have to pit in front of everybody else.
Well, that sounds exciting. Love it when the real life thing can come together. Friends on sim racing and then come together for real life. Of course, here on the screen, good look at our current points sitting at the top. Ryan Patty, second place Brian Smith, and third Nathan Finnegan, with each with a win apiece. And also Jovi Ray has a win but does not qualify for the playoffs. The other three do qualify for the playoffs, but Jovi is not a full-time racer here in the Icon Cup Series, so that's why his win does not count for that. But we're just about to send this one green again, and who knows what's going to happen this time. How about a 5-lap shootout to see who takes the first stage of tonight's race? It's Brian Smith who leads us back to the green flag. Vincent Laurier in second. Ronnie Norman has worked his way to third. And how about Cody Height on YouTube? He's up into fourth place. That's up 8 positions, now challenging his friend Ronnie Norman on the outside.
There is a lot of shuffling going on back in the pack here, but they're pretty tame up front. It'll be really interesting. I didn't realize how tight the playoff battle is, but I mean, these playoff points, the playoff points and the regular season points that you're going to get here in 4 laps, I mean, those are really, really important with how close everything is with the cut line and only a couple races to go. So we'll see how aggressive they get here to see how much they can gain. But seems like a pretty mundane restart.
Well, certainly if new drivers keep winning, the amount of drivers that can get in on points is going to get less and less and less. So more points you can get or get one of those wins, you need it to get into the playoffs. All 3 of the Harper Motorsports teammates are running nose to tail at the moment. And so it's 313 Motorsports in the top 2 positions with Smith and Laurier, and then Norman, Hyde, and Harper for Harper Motorsports. And then you've got the teammates of Mike Jennings and Nathan Finnegan.
They are 4 wide down the front stretch here across the line. This is absolutely insane. I'm really interested to see how this goes. It looks like a couple of them backed out, and they're going to go 2 by 2 here. But one of the names that I want to mention up at the front is Timothy Harper. He qualified 24th, now running in the top 5. He texted me before the race saying to try to give the commentator's blessing. I said it's more like a commentator's curse, so I don't want to put too much pressure on him there. But to be able to make your way up from 24th to 5th in 28 laps, that's pretty impressive, as they are 3 and 4 wide again farther back in the pack. This is absolutely insane as we are coming to 2 to go in the stage.
4 wide for 10th place, and they still continue to challenge each other. This is out front, Brian Smith in command with Vincent Laurier, his teammate, playing tail gunner. And now for 3rd spot, you've got Color City Racing's Nathan Finnegan up there challenging Ronnie Norman. That's for 3rd. And just behind, that's Cody Height and Tim Harper. So Finnegan now looks on the high side. Is he going to have something? He does for Ronnie Norman, and he makes contact with the back end of Vincent Laurier, who slides up to block.
He drove it in so deep into turn 3. I thought there was no way he was making it off the corner, but he made it off and got a run. I really like what I'm seeing here. He's running that higher lane. That makes me really optimistic for Tuesday. He gets in the wall a little bit, but it's okay. These next-gen cars are really, really durable. He'll be all right, but it looks like Ronnie Norman's going to take him 3 wide into turn 3 here. We'll see if he'll be able to get the move done. He goes down to the bottom of the track. The 6 drives it in really, really deep. We'll see if he can hold it here. It looks like he's going to be able to, as he just barely scratches the wall, doesn't lose any momentum. That 9's coming, but he can't get there. Ronnie Norman's going to hold on to 3rd, but that's 78. That pit bull out front, he is going to take the stage win.
What an incredible finish here from the first stage. Brian Smith taking the top amount of points Second place to Nathan Finnegan, third to Ronnie Norman, and fourth to Andrew Cootie, fifth to Vincent Loria. What an amazing first stage, and if that's a sign of the rest of the race, we've got a lot of great racing coming up very shortly. We're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. Some of these drivers at the top, they need to come in and get their pit stops done, and we're going to try to chat with one of these drivers in the field here coming up at the break. We'll be right back on VirtualRacing.Network. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. He managed to take the first stage very handily, and he joins us now here for a live interview. And Brian, what a great victory there in the first stage. Looked like you were in total command.
Yeah, thanks. It came down to a late stage yellow, and I didn't know if I should pit or stay out, but looked at my lap times and didn't notice much fall off, so decided to stay out, and it got done and got the stage win.
It's exciting stuff. There was a lot of challengers, though. You really had to fight it out up there, and we saw a lot of 2-wide, 3-wide racing further back. Any thoughts, any trepidations about going forward in the last 65 laps of this race?
Nah, I think the key to it's going to be holding on to the outside if you're the leader and hoping the guys behind you push with you instead of the guy inside, because it's pretty much impossible to, really clear someone just on the bottom by yourself. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if fuel mileage is going to come into factor or not, but that'll be something to watch too.
Definitely, we'll keep an eye out for that. And once again, congrats on taking that. We'll look forward to chatting with you hopefully at the end of this race.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
My pleasure. So that is Brian Smith. We're going to let him get back to his team there at 313 Motorsports. And Vincent, if you're Brian, I mean, you got to feel pretty good about how your car's handling, how you're handling the track. Do you change strategy? Do you just continue to play the same game of wanting to get up there, get that clean air?
Yeah, if I was in his position here, the two guys in front of, or at least Brendan, looks like everybody else kind of pit with him for either gas only or two tires. So, when you look out in front of you and you see guys who aren't on fresh tires, you want to take that to your advantage and He's been in this position tonight, and he's been able to get to the lead, so I'd expect him to be able to do the same here. But you kind of just get out, you stay out as long as possible, pit, see if you can make it to the end here. And, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out as they're coming back green.
Indeed, headed back to the green flag, Brendan Jenks for Full Send Esports leads this one back to the flag after the caution period for the first stage. And in second place, Brian Smith already challenging for the top spot. Now on the outside, he gives Jenks a little rub and moves that number 78 back into position with authority. Here comes Scott Patton from Bandit Motorsports to try to hold on to second place, and he does. Blade Timmons for Harper Motorsports now trying to challenge up there Brendan Jenks as well. So we're seeing some new names coming to the front, but these drivers pitted before, and we're going to see whether or not they can hold off some of these hard chargers from behind. We do have a caution out, however, and I'm trying to see who that's for at the moment. You can see Stephen Tuck and Michael a little bit further back there, and do we have Bissonette kind of dropping through the field? So let's see if we can figure out exactly where this one happened. Oh, we do see a car up there in the wall, and I believe that's the 73 of Anthony Campbell. So that might be what the cause of this incident was. He's up there in the wall for a little bit.
Looks like he just overdrives it, gets in the wall a little bit. Once you're in the marbles, it's really, really tough to not get in the wall. But
there's the incident.
There's the incident. Yep.
So
yeah,
that would appear to be Justin Michael, who gets into that part of the incident and then is side by side with, I believe that's Stephen Tuck.
Oh, he is not happy with him at all.
Well,
based off of what I saw from that quick little glimpse, it's very, very similar to what happened with him in the 06 earlier in the race. But
well, we'll take a look from overhead and see if we get a little bit better of a view of this one. Coming through the corner and exiting, and two cars make contact. And
yeah, that looks a lot like what me and Nick Gallis went through at Pocono. It's just the 10 got a little loose up top and chased it down, but the 78 was there, and once they made contact, it was done. And netcode obviously didn't help at all, but man, the 78 got fired up over that one. I completely understand his frustration with that one.
Well, we watch on board here from the 10.
It doesn't look like he got loose, at least from the front view. Just exited a lane off the wall, and the 78 gets turned into it. So, I mean, I completely understand the 87's frustration right there. See if we get an onboard of the 10, we might be able to get a better idea based off his wheel input. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing Justin could have done right there. Just an innocent bystander.
Well, that is the product of this type of speedway racing. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out in your favor. And now we see Brock Hersey down on pit road along with Justin Michael and Anthony Campbell taking on service. But back up front, it only took him like half a lap to go from third spot all the way up again into first, and this is the odds-on favorite now to potentially take victory, but we'll see whether or not that can hold. As just behind Smith, you've got Scott Patton, who has taken 5 positions so far today. He's sitting in second place. Some of these drivers, in fact, they were the latest drivers to come into the pits, but Brendan Jenks, of course, did not come in, and he's electing to stay out. Came in on lap number 23, but still holding on there in third spot, and he is up 6 positions. Blade Timmons and Nathan Finnegan currently shown in 4th and 5th places. Finnegan up 15 spots. Blade Timmons up 4 spots. His Bush Machine. Sean Purcell, obviously we know what app he prefers on his mobile phone. Currently racing in 6th place, up 9 spots. And Cootie, who was up there challenging for the lead not long ago, he's now back in 7th place. And he's gained about 3 spots so far tonight. But, you know, again, some of these drivers that are still outside the top 10 that you got to keep your eye on. How about Ryan Patty? Very experienced, taking a victory already, clinched the playoffs. Probably going to be moving to the front here before long. Cody Neal, he drifted all the way to the back after his incident early on, and now he sits in 16th place. And as we look a little bit further back, Justin Bissonnette, now all the way at the back of the field in 27th, but assuming he hasn't sustained any damage, that is another machine that if he can work his way to the front, we might just see him challenging for the win. Brian Smith looks to once again lead this one back to green. It's going to be starting next to Scott Patton, and they begin to file up behind with Jenks and Timmons.
Yeah, so under this yellow here, as we're about to go down green, I did a little bit of math, and I found out that they're about 35 laps to a tank. So Brendan Jenks, with these caution laps, he should be okay to make it on one more stop, but everybody who pit there at the stage is definitely good. As they're going back green here, absolutely wonderful jump by Brian Smith. I mean, that was an absolute power move on that last restart. We had the conversation right before then, but he made short work of that, and he gets to the front of the field here, and he's already got about a half a second gap. We'll see if he can hold on to it as they're side by side for second place. As Brendan Jenks has fallen into that 3rd position, and it looks like he's gonna fall behind that 38 and push him down the back.
Indeed, Timmons pushing up there into the 2nd spot. Jenks falling back into 4th, but so far still able to hold on with those older tires. Patton now challenging on the outside. Is he going to be able to do it? He does seem to be challenging, on the inside. Blade Timmons on the outside, and Timmons with Jenks now following him forward. So Jenks able to hold pretty well on that outside line. 4 wide here, just behind though. These drivers didn't get the memo that 4 isn't necessarily the best number to send through the corner, but they seem to get it all sorted out. Loria Cootie and now Height up into the top 10 as well.
Yeah, I mean, the racing we're seeing here it's intense, but it's been intense all night. But I'll tell you what who really loves to see this side-by-side battle is that 78. He's just scooting out into the distance. He's letting them fight side by side. If they're able to calm things down a little bit and work together, they might be able to catch him here. But the other 4 dives all the way down to that yellow line. We'll see if he's able to hold it off the corner. We've seen a lot of really close calls, and we just got another one right there. Oh man, and that's kind of the danger you fall into when you go to that inside. Is we see him, he's getting freight trained now, and he's put 3 wide in the middle. If you don't get that move done, you know you're gonna get freight trained on the outside.
Always tricky, as I said, to choose the right line. You can get absolutely caught up in the wrong line and find yourself drifting back 5, 6, 10 cars before too long. And they still continue to go 3 wide just behind as Cootie dives down to the low side on Scott Patton and tries to take that position, but no good as he starts to wash up the track. So maybe we're going to start to see that high line pay off. And Brian Smith, in the meantime, jumping out to about a half a second lead over Finnegan. I thought maybe that would give a chance for the draft to allow him to catch up there, but so far, Brian Smith just seems to be a master of this clean air up in front. We'll see how long he can hold on to that advantage for over Finnegan from Collar City Racing.
Yeah, I think the longer this run goes on, the more likely he is able to do it, mainly just because as the tires wear out, aero, your car doesn't handle as nicely, and Brian Smith is going to have that clean air. As we got one really far down on the apron here. He must have got really, really loose off of 2. That's that 54 of Jamie Lee Dunning. He looks like he's got it all together, and he'll keep it going here. But yeah, a lot of really intense racing. But as it goes through, if that 78 is able to keep the lead he has now, I think he's only going to improve his position on the long run.
So Dunning manages to get it together here. He's now at the back end of the pack and almost 1.3 seconds back off of this field. So unfortunate for Dunning, as he had it all kind of coming glued there. Let's see if I can pull up the replay of that incident, as it was just a moment ago here. Looks like Dunning's still kind of struggling to keep up. This was just a moment ago as Dunning came through. Looks like perhaps as we get down here to Dunning, there it is. Looks like he got caught off a little bit, gets it sideways.
Wonderful car control to not wreck that thing.
Absolutely. And of course all that lost time, and Dunning now having to play catch up. But back at the front, that's what it looks like on board for the 78. Just watch those hands. Kind of, it's like he's out for a Sunday drive here, Vincent.
Yeah, you kind of send it down in the corner and then just go back full and try to stick in that position where you're feeling some feedback in the wheel, but you're not at the same time. It means you put that little weight marble, as they call it, right in the center of the car. As the 9 dives it in really, really deep here, he's going to clear for second place. And, they caught back up to his bumper. So he looks like he's on a Sunday drive, but they are all lined up behind him, ready for their shot at the lead.
Absolutely. Cootie has managed to get all of his ducks in a row and be able to get up there and challenge. Now he'll dive down to the low side on Brian Smith. He's going to try to take the lead here on the front stretch.
Yeah, but as Brian was talking about after that stage right there, he wants to stick to that high side if he's going to have an attempt at the lead. So we'll see if he's able to hold down. But the 9 has been able to drive it in really, really deep into the corners here. So we'll see what happens. But it looks like he's going to be able to hold really, really strong there on the outside as the 78 gets a run off the corner, and he's going to easily clear the 9.
Boy, I tell you, Brian Smith just seems to have something special cooking in that machine, able to hold off all challengers no matter where they're coming from. Cootie doing his best there in the number 9 car, and he just cannot seem to get by. He's going to give it a shot again as they continue to jockey for position just behind. That's Loria and Finnegan. Blade Timmons in the mix back there as well, the bright orange car. But here comes Andrew Cootie for CCH Motorsports. He's been given it several shots. I don't know if he's going to be able to take that position or if someone else is going to be able to get that draft and perhaps give it a chance to send it down low, down high. Somebody's got to try to figure something out to stop this practically unstoppable Toyota at the front.
Yeah, and one of the things I've seen out of the 9 has been super impressive is he's gone back to the front, to the back, to the front. He hasn't just been within the top 5 all night. He's been up and down, and each time he's able to make his way back up to the front. So he's probably got a little more experience in the dirty air than a lot of these guys around him. So he's used to his car not handling too well, and now that he's up front, he's getting the cleaner air, and his car is only going to drive better and better as the further he gets up. And as long as that 78 sticks on his bumper, pushing him down the straightaway like he has been, I think he's going to get a really good run one of these times, and he might just be able to clear that 78.
He sure did have a heck of a run and finally caught up to that rear bumper, but we'll see whether or not it can happen again. Perhaps getting a push, getting some help to try to get back up there as he now gets closer. Might we see another run from this Notre Dame Fighting Irish driver, Andrew Cootie, out of Rapid City, South Dakota?
Just the draft doesn't look as powerful as it has in the past, or as we've seen earlier in the race. I don't know if it's the fuel that's burning off and it's equalizing these cars a little bit more. There's a little less wake coming out of the bottom of the diffuser, or what it is. As the 78 goes all the way down to the apron. We haven't seen that too much tonight, but yes, that is fair play. That is allowed. But he's going to look at the 9 here, and the 78's got to love seeing that in his mirror when he looks up and sees those 2 cars side by side, because he's going to be able to pull down this back straightaway. And I wouldn't be surprised if he dips down and tries to give the 68 or the 67 a run there, which looks like he did. Just trying to disadvantage the closest cars. We have a yellow. It's that 87 again. Man, he has been having just a heck of a race, and not in the good way. unfortunately, he's involved in another incident. We'll have to take a look at the replay to see what happened. But, man, just a really unfortunate night for him.
I mean, it's just been one of those nights, Vincent, you know, when it feels bad and then you got a wound and then it's like salt getting into that wound. Well, this time making contact with not sure who that was. We'll have to take a look on the replay, but let's watch from overhead here and give ourselves a little bit better view as he's going side by side there with it's like the 57 of Thomas Taylor. That's why I didn't recognize that. One of our new drivers in the field.
It's just so unfortunate. I don't really think there was anything that he did wrong or anything that the 57 did wrong. I think it was just a racing deal. And, man, that's just so unfortunate that this is the third time he's had an incident tonight. And, yeah, I mean, he puts it bottom 3, but it's just, yeah, there's nothing really either driver could do in that situation.
Well, kind of cursed luck here for some of these drivers, but we're going to see everybody, I mean literally everybody, coming into the pits here as we're now officially over halfway through. So again, love to say hello to everybody joining us over on YouTube, darn near almost 30 of you. We appreciate all of the great support out there and a lot of great chat going around in the YouTube chat room as well. Of course, you're seeing a great race being played out here by the Icon Cup Series. You catch them every night right here on VirtualRacing.Network. Brian Smith getting out first, Andrew Cootie in second, Nathan Finnegan in third, Scott Patton in fourth, Vincent Loria back out in fifth place. And so if you want to catch all the great action, we've got another great race from Michigan for these NASCAR Next Gen machines coming up this week. It'll be on Tuesday night, the NORA Cup Series, as they close down their regular season, get just about into the playoffs, just a few more races to go. And so a lot of drivers going to be gunning for a win. That'll be Tuesday night at 8:25 Eastern Time right here on VirtualRacing.Network. Make sure to subscribe. Love to have you here as well with us on Tuesday night. And, of course, every Sunday night we have the Icon Cup Series, as well as Monday night. We'll be having the NORA Truck Series, 8:55 Eastern Time when they come back next week. We'll be coming back to the playoffs. So it's exciting stuff here on VirtualRacing.Network. Definitely want to be subscribed if you're not already, and definitely hit the like button if you can. Lets YouTube know that you enjoy this kind of racing. Dop3Y says 73 winning it for real, and he thinks we should, or they think we should, interview the 73. He's got the biggest fan base for sure. 3 Hokori letting us know go 73. JD rated saying 73 back in the top 23. Give him one. Okay, well, I tell you what, the 73 still running. YouTube says give him a interview. We'll give the 73 an interview at the next caution should that happen, and we're not too close to the finish. Appreciate everybody checking in with us. And CCH Motorsports says woo, number 9. All these great drivers getting some great support. Of course, that's Andrew Cootie over at CCH Motorsports. And 73 is Anthony Campbell, 26-year-old from Mount Ayr, Iowa. Got that new paint scheme, as I mentioned, from Christian Snyder over at Snyder Graphics. And Christian going to be back here with us next week, but so great to have you with us, Vincent. It's always a pleasure. You've done a couple of races up here in the booth with us, and you picked a good one to check in with us here. Is a lot of great action out there.
Oh, yeah, and I'm learning a ton for my race on Tuesday. And, you know, this race is kind of making me want to come and test my hand in the Icon Series, especially on the road courses that are coming up. But we're back green here. Is that 78 gets a massive jump, as he has been, and the 9 is going to clear himself for the moment as they're going down into turn 1 here.
Indeed, side by side, Finnegan and Cootie for that second spot. This driver's very, very capable, but Finnegan gets it sideways, has to gather it back up, and he just barely does. Some good car control there from the number 6 machine as he got it very loose coming through the corner. Now you see him fanning out just behind. That's Ronnie Norman. Cody Neal. I mentioned Cody Neal coming back through the field. There he is into 7th place alongside Ronnie Norman. So watch these drivers coming back through, but this guy in the 78, Brian Smith, just a rocket out here at Michigan. And if there is one driver I would be watching for your Tuesday night race, this would be the guy. I don't know what he's doing to drive the wheels off this machine, but he's doing something. Vincent Loria having an issue back here as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of action happening. I mean, the 78 has been a masterclass. It's almost like watching Dale Jr. or Talladega. I mean, he has been able to maintain and control and do, I mean, just enough to keep the lead, and that's all you really need to do here. You don't need to go out and burn your stuff up. You just need to do enough to stay in front of the cars behind you, and you know, and then you'll be able to hold on to it. And the 78's been able to do that better than anybody else tonight, as he's been leading most of these laps.
Well, this has been exciting stuff for the 78.
Oh, there's 3 wide. There's contact there, wrecking off of the back. It looks like everybody was able to save it. Wow. It was Brendan Jenks. I can't tell who the other 2 cars were.
Gunther in the middle of that one.
Man, that was... I don't know how they did not wreck there. I mean, all 3 of them were practically wrecked, and they somehow saved it. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Well, this was just a moment ago. And you can see they're 3 wide. They make contact. I have no idea how we do not have a 3-car wreck there. But it is amazing stuff for these drivers to have collected those machines. And now we jump back to the live picture. As you said, Vincent, that's some incredible car control at darn near 200 miles an hour out there.
Yeah, and it's so hard to save these cars with the rack and pinion steering and the short sidewall and these tires. Once it kind of whips around, it's done for. You don't really have the play that you used to, and with the rack and pinion, it's pretty numb in the steering, and you know, just to be able to have a save like that takes an immense amount of talent and a good amount of luck as well, but mainly the talent to be able to save these cars. As somebody got really, really loose off of turn 2 there. Looks like, I think the 15, he was underneath the 30 and got super, super loose. But yeah, these things are hard to drive. We're seeing that tonight, but the 78's been cruising up front most of this evening.
Well, we may have a challenge here for the lead again, and it's Andrew Cody. It's kind of a 3-car battle that has broken away a little bit from Nathan Finnegan, who sits back in 4th place. This is Scott Patton in 3rd, and then you look back a little bit further, that's Nathan Finnegan with Cody Neal on his tail, and then a little bit of a break back to Blade Timmons, Ronnie Norman, Timothy Harper, and side by side between, looks like Justin Bissonnette, who's come all the way back through the field as well into the 10th spot. Cody Neal up into the top 5 in the number 56. He's recovered, so these drivers now side by side at the front between Smith and Cody once again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the 9 dives it down in here and tries to clear. He sends it, but it looks like the 78's just barely going to be able to hold on his outside. It's going to be close off of turn 2. They go up off the corner, and they're still side by side. But one thing that I did want to mention here is fuel mileage. These guys are getting around 35 laps per tank. These guys who are out front, you know, burning up the fuel, racing really hard as the 9 sends it down to the bottom line. Looks like he's clear of the 78, and he's going to take that spot from him, but we'll see if the 78's able to get a run back, or if the 9's able to block him, which it looks like he's doing a good job of. But the 78 get back to the outside. That's where he wants to be on this 9 car, and we'll see if he has the run off of 2 as they go down into turn 1 side by side.
Well, Brian Smith does manage to get side by side once again. They come off.
The 78 puts in the wall.
Here comes the 46 around, and the 78 scrapes the wall. Has it done damage? Not likely. Maybe just a little paint rubbed off. Doesn't look like any top end speed off of that machine, and he continues as now Andrew Cody takes over the top spot in the race. For how long? That's anyone's question, as now Scott Patton makes his move down to the inside to try to take that position as well.
Yeah, this will be really interesting to see how this plays out. It's the furthest the 78 has been, or how the furthest back that the 78 has been in a very, very long time. Looks like he's going to be pushing the 9 car, trying to get past the 46 here. Man, he shouldn't have any damage from that wall hit, but the racing is just going to continue to get more and more intense as we're having 36 to go at the line here.
Indeed, 35 now to play out here at Michigan. It's been a great race so far. We've got Cootie and Patton side by side at the front, with Brian Smith now charging back forward. Who is going to take this race victory? Still a lot of racing to go. Nathan Finnegan now back into this mix, as is Cody Neal there at the tail end. So some of these drivers that we haven't been hearing from very recently, Finnegan, now he looks to move up into that 3rd spot as well. And we've got that challenge from Brian Smith up in front on Cootie. Brian Smith has got the low line this time.
I think Brian is just, every time he's been out front, he's just been conserving his stuff, because he has been able to make moves that we have not seen anybody else be able to make tonight. And I think he's just conserving his tires while everybody else is burning them up. And when he does lose the lead, or lose the lead to 2nd or 3rd, he's able to have the tires to make these super aggressive dives into turn 3 like we see right there, and he's able to complete it, and he's able to get a run off the corner too. So it's really impressive to see what the 78 has been doing here, and I've been learning a lot just watching him as the 9 looks back to the inside, and they're going to be side by side going into turn 1.
Exciting stuff, side by side, 2 deep here, as we now just have 33 laps remaining until the conclusion. Right now it's Cootie out in front, but Smith keeps looking for a way by. This looks like the reverse of what we saw for quite a while, with Cootie trying to get by. Now here comes Cody Neal, is up into the 3rd spot, but now Finnegan charges down to the low line back here on Cody Neal, and it's Finnegan who's now possibly going to get a run at Brian Smith. Smith getting that run down the front stretch, though. He gets that move going on Cootie, and here comes Neal, slicing and dicing his way into the mix once again. And he runs up the track and almost takes out Cootie, but he
78 is so loose. Oh my goodness, he was fighting to hang on to that thing all the way from the center of the corner off of it. That was super impressive that he was able to do it, and he was able to clear himself off the 9, get a push down the backstretch, and back out into control as a 78. But man, he was sideways that entire corner.
Loose but fast, as they say. Four-wheel drifting through the corner, but somehow taking the top spot once again, and this is where he likes to be. Brian Smith out there in the clean air, but before too long, there's Andrew Cootie putting a wheel on Brian Smith on the low line. He's going to try that challenge once again. Cody Neal on the outside. It's developing faster than we can make the calls here on VirtualRacing.Network. Cootie going to try to challenge Smith once again off of turns 3 and 4. And they race side by side. He's now kind of fallen back a little bit as Neal and now Patton on that three-car train on the outside. They managed to take that. That's how quickly Cootie got put back to 4th.
Yeah, you can lose a lot of track position if you don't have any help here. And I'll just say I'm glad I'm not spotting for this thing. The 9 gets super loose off the corner. He's going to lose all of his track position here. We'll see if he's able to. This is the time to sit back, calm down, regroup, calm your tires a little bit. They're pretty angry at you because you've been racing really, really hard for almost 20 laps now, and he's disappointed with himself over the radio. But this is the time to regroup and then try to make a run at the end when your tires are a little happier. But then this fighting up at the front, it's been very intense. We've seen the 78 gets super, super sideways. It looks like he's been on rails all night, and clearly he's fighting a loose condition in that car. So, when the fastest car is not handling well, I think that really speaks volumes to just how up on the wheel these guys are.
Well, this has been one heck of a battle up here in front. Smith and now Neal, his teammate, back in second place. Nathan Finnegan. We've got a yellow flag, though.
Looks like Timmy Harper spinning on the backstretch. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, we'll back it up and try to see if we can figure this one out. Harper's on the outside. And it looks like they're crashing just up in front.
He just went to avoid it, and there was a car there.
Not sure who that was. I know Steven Tuck. It looks like Gunther perhaps caught up in that. Let's go ahead and back it up here, see if we can figure out what happened with Gunther and then Tuck on the inside. Looks like car just up in front, Slagle, gets a little loose. I think maybe that might be a little bit too far back between those cars, but Harper doing nothing really wrong in this group. So we jump on board here. This is what Harper saw. Oh, I see Harper quite a bit further forward. That's Ronnie Norman, and that's Bissonette. Ah, he gets completely turned around.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a driver, you see one car get turned into the wall in front of you. Your natural instinct is to turn to the left, and unfortunately there was a car there. But this caution will do one thing. Everybody is good to make it on fuel here to the end. Would have been interesting to see how it plays out, but all of these cars are going to pit here. They're going to be good to go with fuel. We'll see if we get any two-tire takers, but yeah, it's super unfortunate for them, but luckily there's not a ton of damage suffered from any of those cars, so they should be able to keep going without a problem.
Well, just as we promised, Brian Smith there getting out first, Nathan Finnegan second, Scott Patton in third, Vincent Lauria in fourth. We're going to try and see if we can pull up Anthony Campbell, driver of the number 73 machine. In fact, he's not too far away from our booth, and now that he's coming out of his pit stop, Anthony Campbell, this is Trevor Greenfield and Vincent Arthur up here in the VirtualRacing.Network booth, and your fan group over in YouTube has asked for an interview with you, and we're obliging, and welcome to the broadcast here. How's it feeling to you out there in the number 73, and think you can pull that thing forward and possibly get up there in the top 10?
She feels pretty good. She feels pretty quick. I was up in the top 10, I think, for a little bit early on in the race. And then I hit the wall a couple times, had to get that damage repaired, and it's put me back here. But I'm sitting P20 right now. I'm pretty sure I can get her back in the top 10 before this is over.
It's been a crazy race, a lot of slicing and dicing. Is that kind of your thing? Do you want to get back up there and mix it up front, or do you like it a little bit more calm out there?
I think the crazier the better, personally, but, you know, not everybody will agree with that.
Well, either way, you're looking sharp out there with that paint scheme, and we'll look to hopefully see up there in the top 5, and you owe your fan crew over in the YouTube chat for getting you an interview here.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate them. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, and I wouldn't be in this interview if it wasn't for you guys, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. We'll talk to you hopefully after the race, my friend.
Alrighty.
So that is Anthony Campbell joining us for just a moment there, and I mean, awesome stuff for all throughout this field. I mean, for 30 cars to be slicing and dicing like that and only have just a few cautions in this race, it's been pretty good car control, and certainly says a lot about the talent level here in the Icon Cup Series.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys have been slicing and dicing for 74 laps now, and we've only had 4 or 5 yellows, not including including the stage yellows. So, yeah, I mean, it just speaks to the level of talent here, and the field and qualifying, the top 5 are within a tenth of each other, and you know, from then on out, it was only about a 3/10 split between the entire field. So, really, really competitive, and I think we've seen that on track tonight.
Absolutely, been mega competitive, but right now, the guy who's been the most competitive out there has been Brian Smith. And he's going to lead us back to the green flag as Finnegan gets a terrible start. Vincent Loria gets by him on the outside. And now it looks like Patton's going to get by Finnegan as well.
Yeah, and the intensity is only going to pick up here. Now that these drivers can make it on fuel. Oh, wow, huge moment there. And he's in the wall. It doesn't look like anybody else gotten involved, but he's super slow. That is so unfortunate.
Big moment there for Cootie, who slips all the way back now to 13th position. He's going to try to get that one recovered. Back up front, Brian Smith with his teammate Vincent Loria doing just fine. Scott Patton in third place, the only one breaking up this 313 Motorsports juggernaut at the front of this field, as Cody Neal has now moved into the fourth spot. And then you've got Blade Timmons just behind in fifth with Justin Bissonette. That's right. He went all the way to the back. Now he's all the way back into sixth. So here comes the Color City Racing driver, one with a couple of other drivers we haven't seen at all in the top 10. Here's Ryan Patty, the Detach House of Speed, number 30. Christopher Howell in the Average Joe Motorsports, number 88. And you've also got Justin Michael. And now here comes Cootie back into 10th place. So he's racing alongside Ronnie Norman, and both of those drivers probably pretty anxious to get back up there to the front before too long.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I was saying earlier, right before they started that small little wreck there, the intensity is only going to pick up. I mean, they have no more scheduled pit stops. It is get what you can get. The closer you get to the front, the better your car is going to drive. I mean, it's going to be no holds barred here. And I think we're seeing that play out.
Absolutely stunning stuff here from Brian Smith, but so many drivers doing an amazing job coming through the field. Loria now under attack from Patton. Patton moves down to the low line, so the 313 tail gunner has to move out of the way as the Bandit Motorsports driver Patton moves into the second spot, and he's got Vincent Loria right there on his tail, but so is Cody Neal. And here comes Justin Bissonette and Blade Timmons as well. So this thing anything but over. And right now, Brian Smith just taking a couple of breathers, I think, before this one heats up even further. There's Blade Timmons down to the low side on Neal, going to try to take that spot for fourth.
Yeah, and even though the 78 is under a lot of pressure here, as he's going to go side by side for the lead again, he looks so in control of that car. He was getting out of shape there at the last run, but he just looks smooth. He looks like he knows what he's doing. He looks confident, which is the biggest key here. So, that 78's been impressive all night. We've seen it time and time again. But with 21 laps to go, we'll see if he'll be able to continue to hold off as these fights for the lead continue to get more intense there, as there was maybe a room to put a notebook between those two trucks or cars right there.
Well, this car is certainly coming through the field in a hurry. It's Ryan Patty, but at the front, we've got a new challenger for the lead. It's Scott Patton. He's leaning on him pretty hard as Patton is running hard on the low line, but he has to back out of that one, and now he's got Vincent Loria just behind him. Loria going to go to the high side. Here comes Bissonette down to the low side with a great run.
Oh, man, Bissonette got really, really loose in that transition right there, as we've seen. And, man, that 67 seems to just be the pusher tonight. It seems like he hasn't been able to get enough runs to actually make a move, but he's been shoving people down the backstretch. So we'll see if anybody keeps that in mind and gets him in a good position later in the race. So he was almost put 3 wide there, but luckily that 56 backed out of it. And he's going to get a run down the back, but he's stayed consistently in the top 3. But, man, this racing just continues to get more intense somehow. We have been clenching our fists, and I'm sure these drivers are white-knuckling it in there all night. As the 30 gets in the wall just a little bit, loses a little bit of momentum, but he should be okay here. But, man, this racing is just, it's close, it's intense, it's tight. We still got 19 laps to go.
It continues to be a nail-biter here. Just under 20 laps to go. They race like it's the first lap and the last lap of the race. It hasn't changed from the very beginning. Some amazing stuff here in the Icon Cup Series as this one starts to wind down for round number 5 of the Icon Cup Series inaugural season here in 2023. And of course, we'll be the home of the entire season, including the playoffs, so you won't want to miss it. If you're enjoying this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And now it's Vincent Laria who's holding on to third, but Andrew Cootie is back. That's right, Cootie in the number 9 machine, back into the top 5, trying to challenge for this race win. And now it looks like Patton is possibly going to try to get another run here in second place, trying to get a run at Brian Smith. But they're stacked 3 wide here between Cody Neal and Justin Bissonette. Andrew Cootie on the inside.
Oh man, this is just so intense. And I know it's been said and it's been joked about that your home track gives you a couple tenths here, but if you look in the top 4, 3 of the top 4 drivers are all from Michigan. So I don't know if there's anything that happens there. I feel like I was always really, really quick at Dover, as we saw earlier in the season, and somehow I managed to pull that one off. The 06 goes around off of turn 2. The yellow's going to come out with 17 laps to go. I don't know what happened there, but super unfortunate for him. He's just not had a very good run these last 30 laps.
Well, this is just a moment ago here. We're going to take a look at this one. Perhaps we can look maybe on board. That might tell us a little bit more. As
oh, he's already loose.
He was fighting it through the corner there. He just barely saves it coming up onto the backstretch. And then Patty, he just tags Patty on the outside there. And that sends him around.
Yeah, and it looks like he just kind of accepted his fate there, kind of kept the wheel where it was and just spun around, unfortunately. But you know, he'll be able to come down and get his damage fixed, get some new tires maybe. And
man, he fought that thing like a bronco in a rodeo coming through the corner.
Oh, absolutely.
If we check this one once again from overhead, I think we're going to see he's
already sideways,
barely holding on to it. And then
on the 30 got loose off the corner too. Man, I don't know if the track temp's been coming down or what. I mean, it's about 9 degrees lower than where we started the race, but man, these drivers just seem to get looser and looser as the runs go on.
Oh, it looks like the 30 dodging the 06 there. And they do just barely make contact, and that's what brings out that yellow flag as Bissonette ends up spinning to the inside. We've got a lot of drivers coming down onto pit road with just 15 laps to go. Everybody going to be taking fresh tires. This is
We'll see if anybody pays off with 2 tires. I mean, we talked to Brian Smith at the stage break. He said tires don't really matter here, so we'll see if anybody gambles with 2, trying to get the track position going. But interestingly enough, the 06 did stay out there. So there's a couple cars that stayed out, and a lot of cars came down pit road. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how everything plays out here.
Well, Jennings and Bissonette for Color City Racing, obviously over team radio, making that decision to stay out there. I don't know. Fresh tires have meant something, and certainly, you know, Bissonette was just fighting that car through the corner. So you know these cars better than I do, Vincent, but it is down to 84 degrees out there on the track, so definitely cooling down here as it's overcast and getting cooler into the evening. But Jennings making a bold move. Of course, the sponsor of our race a couple of weeks ago for the Lymphoma 151 here on the Icon Cup Series VirtualRacing.Network race, and now taking over the lead of the race. So this is a bold move for track position.
Yeah, and it's really interesting with the 06 that he stayed out there, because if I remember correctly, he was involved in a little incident where he got put in a wall. It might not have been him, but you know, to spin out like that and to put a lot of heat in your tires, it's really interesting. But it will be pretty neat to just see how the rest of this race plays out with the fresh tires versus the old tires.
Well, we have a chance here to chat live with Andrew Cootie with just 14 laps remaining. Andrew, it's been a rock and roll roller coaster for you out there. You think you got something for these drivers here at the end of the race?
Maybe if Brian wrecks. Honestly, he's really good. I could see a second place, but I've been pretty decent the last couple of days, just practicing and racing and officials and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy about that, the fact that I'm up here. But yeah, I don't understand some things. Like some guys I'll touch them and they'll just scream like bloody murder, and I'm not gonna name names because that's just rude, but it's just like sometimes if you don't like I said in the chat, if you don't like the touching, then don't race NASCAR. Go to IndyCar or F1 or IMSA. They don't touch. So I mean, it doesn't make sense sometimes.
Well, certainly we'll let you get back to it. Good luck with the rest of the race.
Thanks, buddy.
You too. So that is Andrew Cootie, who is obviously not totally thrilled, Vincent, but either way, we're back to green here. We're going to see whether Mike Jennings and Justin Bissonette can hold off the great Brian Smith. And certainly you heard it from Cootie, who felt like unless Brian Smith crashes, it's going to be his race. Here comes Brian Smith up into second. He's going to dive down to the low side on Mike Jennings. We've got one around already.
He looks like he saved this at 87 again. Man, he has had a really unfortunate race. I don't know with these side-by-side restarts if they have the rule with the lane change, but it looks like that 16 definitely switched lanes before the start-finish line there. So I don't know if that's going to be a penalty or if he's going to get away with that. But yeah, no, it's been very interesting. I was actually surprised the 9 said that because I haven't really seen him getting a lot of incidents tonight. But it'll be really interesting to see if there's any rivalries that'll boil over here with the last 12 laps.
This is just...
The 78 is in the wall. He's losing track position. The fastest car all night. Looks like he's been on rails. He is in the wall. He's losing positions. And as the 9 said, he thinks if the 78 were to wreck, he could have it. But oh man, looks like he kept it straight. We'll see what he's able to do here. See if he's able to get back up top, back up to the front.
And they're almost wrecking just in front. That's Cody Neal and looks like Christopher Howell getting side by side as Mike Jennings in the number 16 continues to run in that clean air, and he's got something cooking here. It seems to be working out for him. We've got one around right now. I think that was Neal who just peeled off, or is it Howell?
Christopher Howell who saved it off of the corner somehow.
These saves, it's just been insane how many drivers have been able to actually get control back of this NASCAR next-gen machine. But
they're 4 wide coming across the stripe for like 5th or for like 10th place. And this is absolutely crazy. There's still 10 laps to go, guys. This isn't the final lap. You gotta have something for the end. Well, the 78 gets super loose there. We could see the tire tracks and the smoke coming off of that car. Business is picking up.
This is some insanity that we hope does not lead to calamity. As Scott Patton now in the top spot, he's managed to dispatch Mike Jennings. But Jennings now racing side by side a little bit further back. It's 4 wide. Blade Timmons down below the apron. And Cody Neal just behind.
The 67 is not happy. He was over the radio yelling. I'm not quite sure who but he was yelling, "What are you doing?" Trying to figure out what's happening up there. Man, this is just so intense. So many tempers are flaring here. I'm shocked there hasn't been a yellow yet.
Well, we've had some great racing here, and wow.
78 almost gets turned around.
78 was all kinds of sideways there. It's Cody Hyde on YouTube just behind the 78, checks up into position. We've got...
There they go. He's keeping it straight. Oh, no, there he gets... Oh, he still kept it straight.
It's...
Oh, my goodness. This is
Jamie Lee Dunning, who has managed to somehow save that machine at 8 laps to go. We're not going to... Oh, we've
There
got
they are.
one
Now
really
they got
bad
turned
crash
around. That's
right
a big
now.
wreck on the back.
The 73 of, I believe, of Campbell, who goes spinning, gets taken out in that one, and they're still wrecking just up in front. Multiple cars caught up. This is sadly the big one. We've got a lot of cars caught in this one. Ronnie Norman, Tanner Dio, Anthony Campbell, Thomas Taylor, Hanover Fisk, Christopher Howell. We're going to have to jump back here and take a look.
And this is what we saw coming.
Yeah.
I mean, this had been brewing for 10 laps almost. It's crazy that this didn't happen with 15 laps to go.
Campbell comes up the track there, makes contact for a moment, then comes down into the grass.
Oh, what a hard lick. Oh my goodness, he's up in the air.
And those 3 other cars caught up in the middle of this wreck, and, well, we'll take you on board. It's certainly the YouTube fan club for Campbell not going to be happy with this one, but we'll jump on board with Campbell and see what he saw. Buckle up for this one. It's going to be a wild ride. First, these couple of incidents. He comes down, can't control it coming through the grass, and now up and around that machine goes and blows the engine. And not much left of Campbell's car after that one. It was a much prettier machine just a moment ago. We'll see what happened up in front with Howell, though, as this was, once again, from his perspective coming through.
I don't mean to interrupt, but the 78 and a couple other cars did come down pit road to get tires. So this will be a very interesting run to the end. But, oh, what a hit, man. I took a very, very similar hit to that. Ooh. I took a very, very similar hit to that 73 at Atlanta earlier this year in the Nora Truck Series, and it's just kind of one of those deals where you're glad you're not actually in the car, because man, those things are violent.
Well, speedway racing certainly does bring out this sort of wrecking, but that is very interesting, as you just pointed out. I don't know how much it's going to mean. But right now, a couple of drivers deciding to come down here with just a handful of laps to go. This is going to be Brian Smith, Tim Harper, Justin Bissonette. A lot of these drivers that have been up there at the front. Justin Michael as well. Brock Hersey, Ryan Patty choosing to come down. That's an interesting call from Patty, because I don't think he was caught out in any of those wrecks, but he felt like he should come down.
I think he was spinning there. I remember seeing him spinning on the backstretch during that last wreck. Not entirely sure, but anytime you light up the tires like that, I mean, you might as well just come and get fresh ones, especially with with how much we've been seeing the aggressive racing. I mean, tires, if they get some extra overtime restarts, they might come into play. But I think right now, the first one on tires is Brian Smith in the 13th position, so he's got a lot of work to do in a very, very little amount of time. So we'll see, but man, it's unfortunate for him, but it's going to be a really, really exciting ending.
Well, Barney the flag man giving him the high five, this time by and the yellow. We're going to be going green the next time. Over in the YouTube chat room, a lot of drivers. Glad to see that everybody's okay. But certainly picking Campbell to win the race. I don't think he's going to win it now, but second in the poll to win the race, Vincent Loria. And Smith chosen third out of the drivers. Timmons receiving none of the votes, and there's Timmons challenging. So we'll see whether they know what they're talking about out here in the YouTube chat land, or whether Timmons has got the bit between his teeth and he's going to march forward. But this is it, Vincent. Just 4 more laps to go. If we don't get another caution that will spark the green-white checkered. And let's find out what happens. Scott Patton, Andrew Cootie. Cootie, as we talked to him earlier, he's right there ready to go. And now Mike Smith is back somewhere in the fields, or Brian Smith. So now He's got what he wanted. Can Cootie win this race? Will Patton win this race? Will it be Timmons? Will it be Neal, Loria, Height? Here we go. 4 laps to go. It's anyone's guess.
I'm not a betting man, but I'll bet that there's another caution before this one's over. The 78 made a really aggressive move on that restart, but paid off for him as he's already up 3 positions. And he's getting a run off the corner, about to make it 4.
Absolutely. He's making his way through the field already. Drivers trying to move forward and make their final positions for the end of this race. A lot of drivers still going for that win. Here comes Cootie down to the inside of Neal, fighting it out in second place, going for that victory. Here comes Blade Timmons back here in 5th place, side by side with Vincent Loria. Cody Height on YouTube, back here in 6th. A blanket covering these drivers. Just 3 laps remain. We'll have to see if we could make it to the white flag. We're going to get another yellow in the meantime. These drivers certainly pushing very hard. Here comes Timmons down to the low side. He's going to try on that 3rd spot from Neal. He pushes Neal up the track a bit, but he recovers. Right now it's Scott Patton who's going to see 2 laps to go at the start-finish stripe, and now Cootie slides up over in front of Cody Neal. And Timmons and Loria kind of splitting Neal there in that spot. So far, so good, and we're staying green throughout this field. Nobody having an incident. All Scott Patton has to do is make it to this white flag, and then it's a race on to see who's going to win.
He is running for his life here, but the 9 is on his bumper. This is going to be a very interesting last lap here. We've seen how deep the 9 has been running it in. As we have 1 lap to go, this is going to be a very interesting run as the 56 dives to the inside here. The 67 puts the bumper to the 9. Oh, it looks like he's going to get out of the groove there. Oh, the 9's chances to win are practically gone. We'll see if the 56 has anything to do with anything for the 46 down the backstretch. But it is into turn 3, goes Scott Patton as they're wrecking down the backstretch. That doesn't matter. The white flag is out. We are into turn 3 and 4. The 56 is doing all that he can do, but it does not look like he will get there. Scott Patton is going to hold on and win at Michigan.
Scott Patton taking victory in a stunner here for Bandit Motorsports. He holds on. Cody Neal with an exciting 2nd place for 3:13. He thought he was going to have Brian Smith in front of him, but it was not to be. Vincent Loria hanging on for 3rd spot.
Look at that 9. He is not happy with the 56, or with the 67. Tampers are flaring. He's wrecking the 67, or at least trying to. Oh, man.
Not happy after the checkered flag, and Cootie showing his displeasure as they wreck coming through the field. And I'll tell you what, some tempers flaring in this one after it's all over. We're going to have this playing out through the entire rest of the Icon Cup Series season. Of course, you won't want to miss it. We're going to catch our breath here and get the final results for you as Scott Patton now does some celebrations on the track for taking victory. And we're going to be right back with post-race interviews of our top 3 here. Stay tuned for that. Should be some exciting discussion. And if you're not already a subscriber, hey, this is what you got to look forward to. This and much more. Make sure to hit that subscribe and the like button. We'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It was a thriller here at the Michigan International Speedway, and we're going to find out what these drivers thought of it here in just a moment, as this one has just finished up. But it was absolutely an exciting finish, as Scott Patton for Bandit Motorsports manages to hold on for the victory. Congratulations to him. It was anything but an easy victory for Scott to pull it off. He ends up the top driver there in the number 46 machine. Second place going to Cody Neal for 313 Motorsports. Third to Vincent Loria. Fourth to Blade Timmons. Fifth for Andrew Cootie. And sixth to Brendan Jenks. Jenks for Full Send Esports. Doing a stellar job with Christian not being here to call the race, but great to see him up there. Cody Hyde on YouTube finishing in 7th place. Ryan Patty in 8th. 9th to Brian Smith. 10th to Charles Gettings. 11th to Justin Bissonette. 12th, Sean Purcell. 13th, Ronnie Norman. 14th, Justin Michael. 15th, Stephen Tuck. 16th, Adam Ball. 17th, Kevin Gunther. 18th, Jamie Lee Dunning. And rounding out the top of the order here, 19th, Brock Hersey. 20th, Timothy Harper. 21st, Tanner Dio. 22nd, Cody Eldred. 23rd, Mike Jennings. 24th, Hanover Fist. 25th, Jacob Langlays, one of the new drivers in the field. 26th to Brad Slagle. 27, Thomas Taylor. 28th, Anthony Campbell. 29th, Christopher Howell. And completing our running order, last week's winner, finishing 8 laps down. And just goes to show you how easy it is to fall from the top of the board. But that was for Nathan Finnegan. And this week, though, top of the board belongs to a totally different driver in Scott Patton. And now we're going to see if we can get some of these other drivers into our post-race chat here. We're going to start with our third place finisher, Vincent Loria, who now joins us here in the Icon Cup Series post-race victory circle discussion. Third place for yourself there, Vincent. That was an amazing race. Talk us through it from your eyes, and congratulations on third place.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a little bit interesting starting off the race. It was going to be real tight on fuel. So, kind of talking with the team about how to make the good strategy call there. Kind of evened out at the end with a couple cautions, and then ended up with the P3 right behind my teammate Cody. So I was super happy with the result.
Well, it was an exciting race. Of course, we heard earlier from other drivers that Brian Smith was the guy to beat. Did you feel like he had this one to win until he had his incident? Did you think that there at 313, do you think you guys might end up with a 1-2-3?
Yeah, coming into the night, obviously we had, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but we did have one driver that was gone. So, kind of one less guy as a buffer to get some results for the team standings. Any race that I'm in with Brian, I think he's always the guy to beat. Really fast, really good at, managing the race, the tires, the strategy, all that. I thought, we could have had the 1-2-3. Obviously, he ended up getting a little loose and getting into the wall, picking up some damage near the end there. But, I was just, focused on trying to catch up to him for a lot of the race. I was, him and I were running, he was basically leading the whole thing, and I was running right behind him for a while. So trying to manage my tires just with his dirty air on my mind. And, unfortunately, he ended up not getting the result that we hoped for tonight, but he'll be back next week. No worries.
Well, certainly it was exciting for yourself out there, and a lot of tight racing. Certainly you have a lot of people to thank for tonight's run, and certainly now you're climbing up in the points. So who would you like to thank before we roll on with our broadcast here tonight?
Yeah, well, first, thank you to you guys for, putting the broadcast on. It's, really cool to, get that aspect of it. So thank you guys for that. I'd like to thank, my teammates, Brian, Cody, Jacob. They're all, a huge part of the results that I've been getting. And then I got another one that I want to thank, my boy Mitch, my spotter. So thanks to him too.
Yes, always got to thank your team and your spotter. So incredible to have a live spotter. And of course, not everybody gets that luxury, but when you do, you notice the big difference. And Vincent, you were picked by some to win tonight. I think that may be a premonition on what we might see in the future. Good luck with the rest of the Icon schedule. We'll certainly be watching for you out there.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. So that is driver the number 67 for 313 Motorsports, Vincent Loria. He was a solid runner out there tonight, finishing in third place. But Vincent Arthur, you managed to catch up with Cody Neal in the number 56 machine.
I did. Hey, Cody. It's Vincent up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy, boys.
Yeah, we saw you hanging around the top 5 all night. It just looked like you couldn't necessarily get to the lead or hang on to it there. Is there anything different you could have done there to maybe try to get that one position better?
Yeah, I mean, I had a bad pit stop, probably I think lap 60 or so. That cost me probably 5 spots on that final restart or that final pit. That would have helped out being up there further, but it happens. Definitely had the right line down. Car was very fast. Came all the way from the back earlier in the night and got all the way back up top, so it was fun.
Yeah, we saw a lot of really, really hard racing out there. Was there any difference between the high and the low lane attacking versus defending? And what keys did you use to be able to be successful up there and keep that track position?
Yeah, I mean, the high entry and like the low arc in 1 and 2, that if you didn't have that line, you were just screwed. I mean, but on turn 3 and 4, you could pretty much run wherever. Just if you got in dirty air, you were just so tight. But definitely got to stay out of dirty air, that's for sure, and hold your line. You can't be getting moved around, getting out of the PJ1. But, yep.
Yeah, I mean, a wonderful job with the coming home P2. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the boys back home at the shop, 313 Motorsports. Brian Smith, he really helps us out during the week, practicing. That's about it.
All right, well, that is your second place finisher, Cody Neal. Cody, thanks for joining us up in the booth. Good run tonight, and we can't wait to see you out there next week.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Great job interviewing there, Vincent. Cody, fantastic job in second place. But, of course, the guy who kind of stole the show out there tonight, we thought it was going to be Brian Smith, the way that he was running. But as is the case usually, it's not exactly who you think is going to win. And Scott Patton for Bandit Motorsports, he was holding in the top 5 for a lot of this race. He made a strong challenge to come to the front. And when Brian Smith especially started having his issues drifting backwards, Scott, you managed to be in the right place. You played the clean air game the best, and you took this victory home in authoritative fashion. I think you can hear the disappointment on the 313 Motorsports team's interviews, but Scott, how did you do it? And congratulations taking your first Icon Cup Series victory.
Appreciate it, guys. This one feels freaking awesome. It was a very calculated win, I feel like, from the get-go, from qualifying right out the gate, qualifying solid in the top 10, and then I kind of went in with this. To me, was a huge mental game of just needing to be there at the end of the race. I honestly don't know if I've succeeded at even finishing one of these things in the last 4 or 5 races that I've raced here with Icon. So I went in with that strategy that I had to be there at the end for it to count. And I knew if I was, and I could be, that we'd give them a run for their money, and they'd learn about this number 46 car up here. So that was the case today, and it was awesome to have that play out. Avoiding some of those wrecks throughout the race was tricky, and again, playing in that mental state of giving them room when I could give room, give room on the racetrack and let them have the spots when it didn't really matter, and then taking them back at the end of the race when it did matter. So it all kind of paid off and came together. It's nice when wins come together like this.
I mean, this was definitely avoiding those incidents throughout the field was tricky. Did you feel like it was too aggressive at times out there? Did you feel like too many people tried to go for too many spots, or did you feel like this was pretty normal for Michigan and about what you might expect coming into this race?
I didn't have many expectations coming in, but I can tell you, I think it was one of the early green flag runs, maybe 20 to 30 laps in or so. We were kind of running, and there's a lot of exchanges up front, and it felt like really good, respectful racing, and it was kind of relieved to see. I know that I've been a fair share of part of my fair share of wrecks in the past, so I have nobody to blame but myself, but it was nice to see a lot more respectful racing for a period of time. Then I know some words were shared, certainly on the radios throughout the race, but luckily at that point, most of the drama was behind us, so that kind of paid off too.
Yes, and we don't have the driver radio blasting here on our broadcast, thank goodness. I can imagine what was said. I'm sure Vincent Arthur, doing our co-commentary tonight, had that going in his ear, and that was quite colorful as well. But Scott, tonight you punch your ticket into the playoffs. As you said, there's no guarantees. The past few races not meeting so successfully, and in the future you can't guarantee it, but you punch a ticket into the playoffs. That's got to feel great with so many races left. What are you looking forward to with the rest of this Icon Cup Series regular season?
Doing just a bunch of great racing with these guys. There's a ton of talent in this league, much more so than a lot of leagues that I've been a part of in the past. So I'm super excited just to race, have some good competition with these guys. Now the pressure is off. Like I said, punching the ticket to the playoffs, that's huge. I was talking about mental errors earlier. I made a mental mistake, I think it was last week at Richmond, deciding not to pit before the yellow before the stage to pick up stage points, which at that point means absolutely nothing to me. So, because I knew I wasn't pointing my way into these playoffs, so I had to go for the win, and that's what we did today, and the whole thing kind of came together. But yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season with the pressure off, with the win, and we're going to let them know about the Stone River Chevy here with the rookie stripes. They're gonna see a lot more in the playoffs coming up.
Who would you like to thank for tonight's victory before we close this one out?
Certainly guys on Bandit Motorsports, Justin Michael especially. He's the one, and Chris Howell, the guys in Icon Series here, but there's a lot more of them that help during the week, and just to bounce ideas off of. Justin, even though he had a hard wreck earlier on in the race, we kind of help each other out whenever we can, even if one of them's down and out, and he came up with some techniques for me that actually paid off, helped me pick up a couple spots. And so certainly the Bandit Motorsports for all the contributions. And Stone River Outfitters, check them out for your fly tying needs, StoneRiverOutfitters.com. If anyone's into fly fishing out there, they've got everything you need, and they ship nationally throughout the country. So also, let's throw it out there, the New England Motorsports Museum. That's Dr. Dick Berggren's project up here by the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a museum to preserve racing history in the Northeast. So we got them on the hood. That's our main sponsor. Want to draw attention if you ever find yourself in the New Hampshire area. Check them out. It's pretty much right on the property of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So Dr. Dick is there usually working himself. That's his full-time gig now since he's retired from broadcasting.
And if I understand correctly, you yourself, you dabbled in a little bit of broadcasting with Dr. Dick Berggren.
Yeah, that was super fun a year or two ago. Well, I did it for the last couple of years, but I asked him a huge favor, and he obliged. Super grateful for that, and that was something that I'll never forget, being able to call a race, one of these races like you guys do. You know how much goes into it, but to be able to call one next to a Hall of Fame broadcaster like Dr. Dick Berggren was really cool. That's
very exciting. Well, great to have you here, Scott. Congratulations on taking that victory in stunning fashion. Incident filled race, but at the same time you avoided them all to take victory, and we look forward to seeing you the rest of the season here in the Icon Cup Series.
Appreciate it, Trevor. Hopefully most of that bad luck is behind us now, and we'll be up towards the front here from going forward. Appreciate it, guys.
My pleasure. So that is Scott Patton, who takes victory for round number 5 at the Michigan International Speedway. And of course, we have a big thanks to say here on VirtualRacing.Network to all of you who joined us here on YouTube, the great fan clubs out there in the chat room. Everybody chatting away so greatly tonight. We appreciate everybody checking in with us. So many. This is a lot of people watching tonight, but they got to see a great race, Vincent. Crystal clear 4K resolution. And give us your final thoughts, Vincent Arthur, on this race here at Michigan and what you have to look forward to Tuesday night in the NORA Cup Series.
This race was very, very aggressive. You couldn't really break away from anybody. The drafting was strong at some points, and other points it was a little bit weak. It seems like the biggest key to success was just get out front, kind of save your tires a little bit, and then then pounce when they try to attack you. But yeah, no, it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out on Tuesday. I learned a lot up here just watching these guys and seeing what they did. But yeah, I mean, I go into Tuesday. I'm looking forward to a good run. I don't want to put any expectations on it, but I've learned a lot here tonight. I've kind of seen what not to do, what can work. Obviously, a little different track conditions, a little different fuel load, but the overall car is the same. So yeah, I'm super excited to go into Tuesday. Aggression is going to be the key. We saw a lot of really good racing tonight, and I think we saw the best that the Icon Series has to offer.
Absolutely great words, and as you said, it will be coming up on Tuesday night. You won't want to miss it. 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time right here on VirtualRacing.Network, and we'll look forward to seeing Vincent Arthur and all of the other great drivers in the NORA Cup Series field out here, so make sure you set your alarm clocks for that one. In the meantime, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us for this one. It's been my pleasure having you up here, Vincent, and we'll look forward to it at any point in the near future. And in the meantime, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. On behalf of everybody here in the Icon Cup Series, all the competitors and the administration, we'll see you next time here for the Icon Cup Series next Sunday, and we'll see you Tuesday night for the NORA Cup Series. Get some good sleep. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.